Disputes fail to succeed. Not even the most formidable defense can save the day. A desire to do God's will is the main thing that draws people to the faith and Christ, although there are good reasons to support the Bible and win arguments. Not only did he accuse millions of Christians of not being genuine, but he also told women to go. At the age of 85, John MacArthur lays down a surprising bombshell. At long last, the megachurch pastor is opening up about his strange auto accident, his hidden family connections, and his shocking past. His life was on the brink of disaster following 3 heart surgeries, but even his most ardent followers are confused by what he just said regarding slavery. His birthplace is Los Angeles, California, and he entered this world on June 19, 1939. He came from a long line of religious people. His grandpa was Harry MacArthur, a Canadian Anglican priest. A well-known Baptist radio preacher, Jack MacArthur, was his father. Given that John was brought up in a religious household, it appeared likely that he would also adhere to that trajectory. However, there was an unusual twist to his family tree. He revealed his distant relation to General Douglas MacArthur in a 1979 interview. They had a 5-degree relative relationship. The first one rose to prominence as a prominent military commander, while the second was a major figure in the development of modern evangelicalism. In his early years, MacArthur did not serve for very long. He adored sports first and foremost. While he was a college student, he prioritized athletics over academics. In 1960, he rejected a chance to serve as the Cleveland Browns' backup wide receiver. Their star player, Paul Warfield, injured his shoulder, forcing them to find a replacement. Despite the rarity of the opportunity, MacArthur had already decided when the offer arrived. "No, I'm heading to church," he said. At the time, he was not paying attention in class. He mentioned later on that he never allowed books to hinder his education. That all changed when he was nearly killed in a car crash while he was a college student. Little is known about the crash, but it had a profound impact on his life. Prior to the accident, he had a reputation as a severely obsessed college athlete. After that, his faith took on a greater significance in his life. He felt compelled to pursue a career in ministry after that. The trajectory of his life was significantly impacted by his father. One of the pioneers of Christian radio was the preacher Jack MacArthur. With the knowledge he gained from this, John planned to found his own television network. However, he initially became acquainted with radio and television through music, not teaching. While MacArthur was a student at South Carolina's Bob Jones University, his dad approached him about joining the vocal group Voice of Calvary. The band's Christian radio broadcasts reached listeners all across Southern California. He had never before interacted with so many people. He had no idea it was preparing him for a career in media ministry at the time. Bob Jones was not MacArthur's home. Azusa Pacific University, formerly Los Angeles Pacific College, became his new alma mater after he took a year off. He graduated from college in 1960 with a major in religion, and in 1961 with minors in Greek and history. He also started out on his journey as a preacher around that time. In Burbank, California, he served from 1964 to 1966 as an assistant pastor at the Harry MacArthur Memorial Bible Church. After his grandpa, the church was named after him and constructed by his father. Early on, he gained confidence in his calling while serving in a church that was very near to his family. In order to gain further knowledge, MacArthur visited Talbot Theological Seminary. He was a student of Dr. Charles Feinberg there. He had a stellar reputation as a Jewish teacher who was well versed in the Bible before he converted to Christianity. It was from him that MacArthur derived a passion for teaching others about the Bible. In 1964, he received both his Master of Divinity and his magna cum laude degrees. It was said that Talbot had already given him too much Bible when he was thinking about getting a PhD because he loved studying the Bible so much. He was advised to peruse the writings of modern philosophers, yet he resisted the urge. He could have continued his education, but instead he decided to become a pastor. The church in Burbank, California, where John MacArthur's father served as pastor, was the first place he worked as a minister. After completing seminary in the mid-1960s, he joined his famous priest and Bible teacher father, Jack MacArthur, in the role of assistant preacher. How this job would shape him was something he hadn't anticipated. He gained experience in church leadership, group dynamics, and problem solving, all of which are essential in the ministry. At this point, the idea of breaking down the text verse by verse into its component parts occurred to him. His whole career would be molded by this approach. After gaining experience in his dad's church, MacArthur spent 3 years traveling and giving speeches. His appointment as an extension speaker for Talbot Seminary gave him the opportunity to speak at various venues across Southern California, including churches, conferences, and youth camps. During this period, he devoted a great deal of time to his role as featured speaker at Hume Lake Summer Camp, a position he held for 2 months each summer. He became more skilled at presenting the Bible clearly after preaching to youth. Over the course of the year, he filled in as a preacher at various churches that were short-staffed. He gained a better understanding of the needs of churches after conversing with individuals from various backgrounds. There wasn't strong leadership, so some people were struggling. Instead of hopping from church to church, he began to sense a calling to serve in one location. That opportunity arose in 1969. Grace Community Church in Sun Valley, California, was MacArthur's new home from February 9, 1989. He had just turned 29 years old. In September 1968, the church's leader, Dr. Richard Elvey, died of a heart attack. This was the second such high-ranking leader to leave Grace Community Church in the span of less than 5 years. After becoming familiar with MacArthur's conference talks, the church elders approached him about running for the position. Other churches had rejected him due to his youth and perceived lack of experience, but it was perfect for Grace Community Church. They had recently lost 2 leaders in a short period of time, so they were looking for someone youthful who could lead the church for a long time. They were correct in their decision, it turned out. MacArthur's inaugural sermon was titled How to Play Church. For 50 minutes it continued. His teaching style would be defined by that length. However, it was accepted by the church community. Instead of asking him to shorten his lectures, they hung a large clock on the rear wall to accommodate his schedule. His methods were foreign to many churches. He didn't depend on emotionally charged tales or grand concepts to move his audience. He had a profound and comprehensive way of teaching the Bible. The response was instantaneous. There were fewer than 500 people in attendance when MacArthur visited Grace Community Church in 1969. In the beginning, the group size doubled every 2 years. In 1971, they relocated from their cramped old church to a newly constructed family center, which would subsequently be transformed into a school. The expansion, however, did not stop there. In 1977, the church constructed a larger room that could accommodate 3,500 people when that one again became too cramped. 8,000 people were attending each Sunday by 1990. Among American Protestant churches, Grace Community Church ranks 9th, according to the International Megachurch Research Center. However, MacArthur was concerned about more than just statistics. He believed that individuals ought to be prepared for the ministry. During his tenure as pastor, the church launched numerous new ministries, including social groups, Bible studies, and outreach initiatives. Volunteers rather than paid employees oversaw many of these initiatives. Grace Community Church reached people on every continent using this method. The Master's Seminary was founded by John MacArthur in 1986. His primary objective was to instruct preachers in the art of authoritatively, precisely, and clearly teaching the Bible. At Grace Community Church in Sun Valley, California, he consistently used a style of speaking known as expository preaching for many years. By going over each verse in turn, this method ensured that the meaning was crystal clear and connected to the original text of the Bible. However, MacArthur noticed an issue: many pastors were not instructed in this manner to apply God's Word. As a result, some educational institutions began to reject the Bible as an authoritative text. Because of it, churches suffered. It was then that MacArthur decided to take action. Nearly 150 people enrolled in the Master's Seminary when it first opened on the Grace Community Church grounds. The lessons were designed to be comprehensive and practical. Earning an MDiv degree required 4,410 hours of coursework. The students gained practical skills in leadership, theology, pastoral work, and Bible languages. The whole institution was structured around the central mission of equipping men to confidently preach the gospel. The fundamental purpose of the school has always been to provide students with language instruction. Pastors, according to MacArthur, should not entertain or share their personal views with their congregations, but rather teach them the meaning and content of the Bible. It was critical that the school's students understand the proper way to do this. In addition to being authorities in their disciplines, professors also had extensive preaching experience, having preached from the Bible in actual churches. It didn't take long for the Master's Seminary to make an impression. In the year 2025, nearly 1,800 graduates found employment as pastors, missionaries, or Bible teachers in 41 different nations. Through partnerships with local churches and organizations such as the Masters Academy International, the school was able to expand its training offerings outside the United States. Churches were fortified as a result of these endeavors because their leaders were equipped to impart sound doctrine in their own languages. In the year leading up to the school's opening, MacArthur was busy with another major project. He was instrumental in the 1985 founding of what is now known as the Masters University, formerly known as Los Angeles Baptist College. He hoped to construct a school where devout students could get an excellent education without compromising their faith. Upon becoming president, he ensured that the school continued to all of its classes on the Bible. Unlike other Christian colleges, the Masters University never wavered from its original beliefs. It lent credence to theories like the infallibility of the Bible and the six-day creation myth. A lengthy theological statement was required of all faculty members to guarantee that classes were taught in accordance with a consistent biblical perspective. Under MacArthur's leadership, the university was able to reach a wider audience. There was an expansion into master's programs and the establishment of an Israeli extension school known as IBEX. It created a way for working adults to get degrees and made online classes accessible to students worldwide. A more Christ-centered education became available to more students as a result of these changes, regardless of their location or life stage. The institution placed a premium on more than just academics. The message revolved around four key points: the transformative power of God, sanctifying relationships, spreading the gospel, and sharing the good news. Teachers did more than impart knowledge. They were also mentors who encouraged students to mature in their faith. People were able to accomplish their work well while remaining faithful to their Christian beliefs using this method. The high academic standing of the school demonstrated this equilibrium. Both the number of students who passed the CPA exam and the number of students who went on to attend prestigious graduate schools were consistently high.